First impressions are everything. This adage might be old and cliche, but it is 100% true. The first experience one has with anything is incredibly formative. This principle applies to anything, be it hobbies, places, people, and of course, for our purposes, media products. Think about how many people's first exposure to the Black Clover anime was Asta screaming, which led to years of slander despite the anime being pretty good for the most part. So a bad first experience can often lead to a false impression of something that is otherwise pretty decent. And today I want to talk about one such case, courtesy of my dear patron Paracha, namely one of the current Shonen Jump heavy hitters, Undead Unluck. This shonen action manga follows the story of Fuko, a young girl who is cursed. Anyone who touches her soon suffers a stroke of bad luck, sometimes even fatally. However, when she meets the immortal Andy and encounters a whole slew of people with similar abilities, she is thrown into a plot that includes ship heists, Russian experiments, and killing God. It's by all means and purposes a strong and exciting entry into Shonen Jump's action lineup, if it weren't for the beginning. You see, the first chapter of UXU has Fuko get lusted over by Andy, who wishes to see how bad her ability can get. By increasing the area of contact, the incoming stroke of bad luck can be worsened, and Andy wishes to see the limits of this in hopes that the resulting bad luck might finally kill him. This results in groping, fondling, and attempted rape, and yeah, it's all around not great. You could, and people regularly do, say that this is just how Japan does comedy sometimes, that manga is ecchi and that's fine, and that it's not worth it getting upset about that. To that, I say, are you fucking hearing yourself? A medium that comes from a country with a notoriously terrible attitude towards the safety of women, desensitizing its audience to treat sexual violence as a joke, is not the serve you think it is. It's actually exactly the problem. This sort of comedy, being so common and ubiquitous within manga and anime, is an indication of just how bad the situation is, and does in no way, shape, or form diminish how gross it is. And Undead Unluck plays into this culture in the worst possible way, literally shonenizing the heroine as a forbidden fruit whose touch is desired yet perilous, and whose agency is overwritten by the strong, horny man who chases her with just the best intentions. So, easy fix, right? Just don't read Undead Unluck. Except, no, because this is basically contained to only the very first few chapters. Past the first mini-arc, this element almost completely vanishes from the story and gives way to, well, a really good series. The power system is bonkers, the plot is enjoyable, and the fights are sick as hell. You're genuinely missing out if you aren't reading this. So, yeah, it's kind of a conundrum. On one hand, first impressions are everything, but on the other hand, this first impression is so not indicative of the rest of the experience that it's difficult to say if dropping it early on is the right move or not. It gets even more complicated once you consider that the grossness of the early chapters might have been a calculated play on part of the author, knowing that it would generate attention and give them an advantage in the eternal battle against the cancellation axe. So what? Is the series now more respectable because it probably doesn't think this behavior is good? Or is it less respectable because it uses a serious topic in its gross depiction to generate revenue and attention? I genuinely don't have a conclusive answer. All I have is my opinion, which is as follows. Dropping UXU early on due to its grossness is 100% justified. These topics are treated way too lightly within manga even today, and it's totally normal and reasonable to be fed up with it. The early 2000s are over, and it's time to move away from obnoxious, ecchi humor that borders on genuinely shitty statements on sexual violence. Having a moral compass and being grossed out at this shit is perfectly fine and mature, especially if it's a sensitive topic for you. However, and I hate that I have a however after this segment, what the fuck, I do think that, as of right now, Undead Unluck has sort of shaken off the weight of its first chapters and somewhat redeemed itself? I want to harp on it, I want to still be mad, but the story has genuinely managed to make me care not just about these characters, but about this couple specifically, by contrasting the roughness of Andy to the tenderness of Fuko and having them influence each other constantly. Whenever the story focuses on their relationship, it's genuinely enjoyable and sweet, and what the fuck, how is that possible? I've gone from cringing in disgust whenever they interact to really loving every second of the relationship, and while I don't quite understand it, that must count for something, right? Also, when I say the series moves away from its early grossness, I mean it moves away. Past like chapter 14, it's just rawness and swag through and through, with both the art and the story going completely nuts. The negator system is so cool, and the way the plot constantly turns itself upside down makes it truly unpredictable in a good way. So yeah, I think you really would be missing out. So yeah, I guess the verdict is that it kinda depends on you. When you get into heavy topics like these, there is always going to be an element of personal tolerance. How much can you look past these things? With anime and manga, this is especially important because of how much this industry benefits from and perpetuates these shitty depictions that do have real-life consequences in the most extreme cases. And even beyond direct correlation, do you really feel comfortable reading stories like these published by a company that happily keeps convicted pedophiles employed? It sucks that these are the kinds of discussions we have to have, but they are nonetheless important. There's only so far that you can escape into fiction before you have to inevitably confront its ties to reality. Fiction can be an escape, but at the end of the day, as you grow older, you kind of become responsible for what you consume and what you support. And this is one such question. Is it right to stick with a series that starts out this badly and this shittily on a topic that not only is so important, but is also just so heavily mismanaged and badly perpetuated in the industry this work comes from? It's a personal question and one that I can't answer for you. My personal outlook on it is that these stories are going to be made, and if I'm gonna read them, any of them, I might as well read the ones that redeem themselves and move forward. But fuck, I don't know if I'm gonna feel like this 2 years from now. I don't know how I'm gonna feel when the anime comes out and I'm gonna have to see this nonsense animated. It's hard, and it's a discussion that's not pleasant to have, but it is important. Having difficult discussions about things that otherwise should make you just happy and carefree is just part of adulthood. And so, as an adult, I can just say that I feel appalled reading these early chapters, but I can't get around acknowledging that I'm currently having a lot of fun with the series. And that's that, I guess. I'm probably never going to collect the volumes. I'm not gonna make many more videos on this because it kind of feels gross in a way. Tell me what you think in the comments, but keep it civil. Thank you all for watching. Hey, as always, thank you for watching, and a big thank you to all my patrons, including Daniel Garcia, Fictionape, Jameson Tate, Cini, Victor Perez, Cesar Londono, Trader, Ignis, Mr. Meander, and Paracha. Thank you all, I really appreciate all the help and support you give me, and I love making this stuff for you. I hope you keep watching, I hope you subscribe, I hope you like, and I'll see you around. Bye bye, take care.